Source: Bastard Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy. Welcome back to AniRecapz. Like and subscribe so you never miss our quality uploads. In a fantasy world that looks like it came out straight from a metal song, humans there have already achieved the highest level of development. This is just the story from 400 years ago. Even with highest peak of evolution, humans are still the same. Their souls are still corrupted with selfishness, hatred, greed, and jealousy. This triggers a celestial being to emerge, a dark, evil, godly being, full of destruction. Its sole purpose is to eliminate war to create a better world. But the celestial being saw that humans were the cause of the Earth's downfall, so it changes its course and chose to eliminate humanity. It unleashes an 8-pronged attack that levels the whole city in a matter of seconds. However, even in the darkest moments, hope still exists. A small beam of light from Earth pierced through the heavens. And from it, a powerful heavenly-looking white dragon with a giant sword descended. They both meet and sees themselves as primary enemies and engages to battle. Their battle shocks the entire world as a whole and even leveled some continents. So it comes without saying that millions died in the battle between those two godly beings before the dragon won. Fast forward to the future, we see the newly formed worlds. One of the kingdoms named Metallicana was on the brink of falling due to the heavy attack by evil followers, or rather fanboys of an evil wizard called Dark Schneider that died 15 years ago. The lunatics sieged through Kingdom's castle that has few soldiers left to defend a busty princess who is hiding in the cathedral. Yoko, the daughter of a high priest, was entrusted with a great secret, a power sealed inside a young kid called Lucian. She can free it since the spell needs a virgin to kiss the boy. And now you see why the show name is Bastard. Yoko's father told her, in only case of emergency situations, she can chant and summon the second personality that dwells inside of Lucian's soul. Sheila, the princess of this kingdom, knows that Yoko can do something to save them. She asks Yoko to summon the powerful ancient wizard that is somewhere in this castle. But Yoko is too embarrassed because to activate it she must kiss Lucian because she thinks how she is the only virgin girl in this room. Then the dark fanboy army bursts the gate. Trying to save Yoko from the monster's attacks, Lucian was hit in the head. When the situation looked hopeless, with no other choice, Yoko chants and kisses Lucian. Then a large amount of dark magic power envelops around Lucian, releasing the so-called overpowered ancient wizard. Our main character, Dark Schneider, has officially been awakened. Sheila's ministers order Schneider to kill the monsters, but he refuses because he doesn't take anyone's orders and only wants to protect Miss Yoko. Yoko has been with him for more than 10 years, and because he has been with Yoko, he has created an emotional bond with her. He gets scared whenever Yoko yells or raises her hand at him. So with that, we see how Schneider only listens to Yoko and agrees to help the busty-looking princess and proceeds to wipe out all the monsters, leaving only the evil wizard for his last meal. That wizard leader, who funny enough is named Osborne, proof that the guy behind this show is a heavy rock metal enjoyer. After killing all the invaders and solving their problems, he leaves without saying any words. As he leaves the kingdom of Metallicana, he gets followed by the virgin redhead and reveals to her his diabolical plan to conquer the world and kill her father, who sealed him in a kid's body. In the heat of the moment, he kisses the chick unbeknownst to him that this kiss will seal him again and bring back Lucian, the young boy he is stuck inside. Damn, that kinda sounded weird. Soon after, we learn that the kingdom of Judas fell to the armies of the dark. Now they set their sights on Metallicana, especially after the rumors that Dark Schneider is the one that killed Osborne using his signature spell Venom have spread. To confirm the rumors, they had to send the Hydrocaster to Metallicana and fight him. If defeated, then this would be all they need to confirm it is truly Dark Schneider. So the slow march began towards the city. Yoko notices a dark cloud from afar while strolling the streets with Lucy. Then they get approached by her father, who tells them to come with him to the castle. There they get informed that the city is under attack by the Hydra wizard. So the king and his visors decide to release Dark Schneider to fight for them just like before. However, their plan backfires as MC attacks the soldiers with a spell called Guns and Rolls, and then turn to the high priest, Yoko's father, as he hates him for sealing him down for all these years. Yoko's father counters Schneider's lighting spell with his anti-spell barrier. Things seem in his favor until the edgy boy awakens a golem that lies under the castle to wreak havoc. The wizard tracks down Schneider's aura and attacks him, of course. Schneider kills him easily after roasting his ass literally and figuratively. Then he turns back to kill the high priest as promised. Yoko says that if Lucien is truly gone, but our MC responds saying, they are two sides of the same coin. If Lucy dies, then he dies too, and whoever Lucy he likes them too. And to prove his love for her, he gives up on killing the high priest, kisses her, and returns to his form as a small kid. The Dark Army's plot behind all the killing and destruction came to light. They are out to bring back the god of darkness Anthrasax. She is that being that almost destroyed the earth long time ago. Later, we see Gara, one of Dark Schneider's disciples and the leader of the ninjas, came one step closer into discovering the true nature of Dark Schneider. And Lucien, while questioning a tied-up Yoko. Luckily, when things were about to get frisky, our main protagonist, Dark Schneider, after being released from his seal 2 times already semi-awakens, controlling Lucien in his sleep. Dark Schneider then threatens to kill Gara if he doesn't unhand his woman right this instant. Soldiers then rush into the room accompanied by the high priest. Gara then retreats on top of his wyvern, with Yoko as hostage, leaving Lucien behind. In the castle, the problem now lies with their inability to unseal Dark Schneider, so no one can go and save Yoko. Until Princess Sheila decides to enter the harem. Seems like she had a thing for our MC, so she knows the spell and also a virgin, but her father, the king, strongly disagrees, since a kiss in the royal family is only considered marriage. Therefore, the visors and high priest escort him outside the throne room in an awkward way. She then performs the ritual, and just like that, the budget-cut Griffith from Berserk anime comes out to play. Once they told him to save Yoko, he refuses, saying that he is better off without her annoyances, and is now free from her. Princess Sheila gets disappointed by his behavior and slaps him. And so after that, Schneider led a group of elite soldiers along with the princess to the hidden castle of the ninjas. That Gara is keeping Yoko captive. They are ambushed by ninjas, immediately dispatched by Gara, and MC takes care of them. He then charges right in through the front door, knocking out the main gate. In the meantime, Gara is trying to interrogate Yoko as to how she can unseal Dark Schneider. She doesn't budge since it is so embarrassing for a virgin girl to reveal how it is done. Back on the ground, a minotaur crashes the wall and attacks the soldiers and lover boy, who convinces the soldiers to remain back and fight off the minotaur to protect the princess. Of course, they accept since it's their duty as soldiers. After climbing the stairs, they find a one-eyed beast from a different dimension manifesting in front of them due to the seal-over. Anthrasax weakening. MC fights the creature and uses some of his most powerful spells, but the beast has an anti-spell shield protecting it against all his attacks. Thanks to the princess, the shield weared off and he was able to finish it off. Dark then explains that he is close to his limit, even though he is the only wizard in the world able to use that many spells at once, since they have a strain on one's body. He then explains that he has 1 or 2 more spells left in him, and he is keeping them to fight against Gara. That said, things didn't go as planned. A trap Gara left was activated by the princess's booba, wounding the man in the process with a cursed sword. So to save the day, she must suck out the poison from his body fast, or their asses will become toast by the ifrit that came out the sword. There are 4 types of magic in this world. The first one uses up the constitution of a caster and his mind power, while the second is dark magic by making a deal with a devil and gaining powers from it. And the third is white magic, which draws power from religion and believing in the gods. And the last form is the power of the spirits, which can be categorized into 4 other subcategories: air, fire, water, and earth spirits. The fire Ifrit that MC is now up against not only counters all his powerful fire attacks, it even gains more power if used on it. Needless to mention, MC was still weak from the poison, putting him at a complete disadvantage in that battle. Or so we thought. He set up a powerful anti-magic barrier to protect the princess, and then walked outside of it into literal 1,000 degrees of lava, only to cast a powerful spell, Exodus, absorbing the flames and heating them to 20,000 degrees, to then launch himself at the Ifrit like a bullet. After getting his ass kicked, Ifrit went back to the sword, which now belongs to the edgy boy after it admits defeat. Finally, the boss fight is here. After wasting his spell Exodus on Ifrit, Gaara engages in battle with our main boy, who fends him off, but Gaara taunts him about doing heinous acts with his beloved Yoko. Our enraged lover boy attempts to use Venom, his most powerful spell. While casting it, Gaara cuts off his arm and dodges the spell, losing only his right arm in the process as well. But his anger still has not settled, so he uses his spirit magic and shatters the castle completely. And even though he was weakened, poisoned, and exhausted from using all his spells, he still managed to protect everyone else and create a barrier around them, to which Gaara remarks, the old Dark Schneider would never have done something like that, not in a million years. Admitting defeat, Gaara's hand is back intact as well for MC, who kept Lars, Gaara's pet dragon, under Dark Schneider's barrier. Then the brothers talk it out and becomes friends again. When the chicks arrive, Daddy Dark Schneider goes and hugs Yoko, saying, whatever Gaara did to you, I will still love you forever. But since he used his usual vulgar methods and language, she kicks his ass. That said, the comic relief moment ends when they discover that during the whole time rescuing Yoko, the kingdom was under attack. After leaving the ruins of the ninja castle, Dark Schneider splits from the group with the dragon Lars and ventures aimlessly into the woods. In the meantime, the Third Army, led by the ferocious General Archesnay, the Dark Elf Empress of Thunder, is attacking the city of Metalicana. She then receives a message that Gaara has betrayed them and has switched sides with Dark Schneider. She then calls our MC by his actual name, Darsh. Yet what was more interesting is, MC was actually using a spell to visit her busty elf girl in her dreams, to quote-unquote convince her to join him, but he fails miserably and ends up being attacked, expelling him from her dream. She then sends one of her 3 wizard commanders, whom she granted powerful magic, to get rid of him completely. In the woods, Darsh and Lars walks, but suddenly, a mysterious damsel in distress appears in front of them. Darsh attacks that spider, even though Lars emphasized to him repeatedly that this could be a trap, but he ignores him and kills the spider. So to thank him, the lady offers the bad boy to escort him to her mansion and makes sure he's treated properly. During dinner, while he munches the food like a wild animal, he recalls the words of Yoko urging him to eat properly, which he then does. During the night, the lady he saved enters his room in provocative clothing, offering him her V card for saving her. And if we know anything about our main protagonist, it's that he won't say no to a hot-looking virgin on his bed. Lars repeatedly tells him that it's a trap, until it's too late. The chick places a magical scroll on him that summons another spider like the one he fought. The girl then reveals herself to be one of the 3 commanders that Archesnay sent to assassinate him. With him completely caught off guard and at a disadvantage, the spider munches his body and devours it, supposedly killing him. Boom snapped back to reality as the moment Shin pulled out the talisman, which he put her under his illusion spell, and apparently he is still sitting on that bed watching her from behind, enjoying the view. He is then able to seduce her and convinces her to go to bed with him. Now I can't show this scene, but let me say, even though he made us think that he did the nasty with her, he actually didn't touch at all. She was under the illusion spell. Soon after, the messengers relay the report to Arches that her follower was defeated. She immediately realizes his Darsh was somehow able to seduce her to his side. And so, the adventure of the handsome, dashing pervert continues. This time, Drash encounters the second warrior, a powerful, pretty boy with amazing sword skills that said when MC finally uses the Ifrit blade he got from earlier episodes. He shatters the knight's armor and discovers that he is a she and a smoking hot girl, if I dare say so myself. Kai is the honorable and most powerful magical swordswoman of the 3 commanders. Her sword style is the original style that all the other sword styles come from. She is much more adept at it than Gaara, as she demonstrated when she shredded MC, or at least his illusion of him. Swordsmanship isn't the only thing up her sleeve though. She also has a powerful ability that petrifies everyone. When MC is struck by it, he immediately attempts to counter it with a counter spell, only to discover that this is not his run-off-the-mill petrification. It seems to be a borrowed power from a god that he didn't know. And to break the seal, he had to figure out who the god is like a math problem. With his lower half petrified, MC is now unable to move. So that hot smoking girl decided to seal the deal and strike him down since keeping him petrified wouldn't be enough, she says. Suddenly, a spider jumps in front of MC, taking the attack for him. Kai then tries to change her mind from killing him. She fails since she lacks the strength to fight her. In the heat of the moment, Kai reveals the name of the god she is drawing power from. And just like that, the petrification on Darsh is broken. However, even though he is now immune to all attacks that included that god's power in them, as a final resort, Kai summoned her OP cock rooster chicken thing. It's a giant chicken monster that unleashes a gas petrifying anything it touches, and this time it can't be dispelled. Kai, thinking she won, doesn't notice that the wind changed its course towards her, dragging the gas her way. Now panicking, Kai drops the crystal, controlling the beast, turning it into a wild cock. It hits the lady with its claws, so MC walks up and blasts it point blank. Then he turns his sights to Kai and defeats her for good this time. After she admits defeat, he picks that sweet dark girl and places her under a tree to suck the poison of that monster out of her. Kai promises to kill him another day once she recovers, and he agrees to that and heads off, leaving both girls after they warned him about the last of the three commanders, the immortal wizard. Suddenly, he becomes greatly exhausted, and Lucian's personality surfaces, reverting him into a clueless child searching for his dear Yoko. Meanwhile, in the kingdom, the situation looks dire, and the monsters are slowly but surely penetrating the kingdom's defenses. Then we learn that the high priest sent his daughter in search of Darsh, since he is the only one who can save them from this predicament. That sent backup comes out of nowhere. Gaara and his 2,000 ninjas decided to give the soldiers a hand against the monsters until Drash can make his safe return to them. All alone and clueless walking through the forest, Lucian then hears the sounds of water. So he goes in to check, and he discovers Yoko having a bath. The moment she notices Lucian, she rushes over, kissing and hugging him. In the meantime, the third of the magical commanders, a vampire, is introduced. One thing to know is that the man behind him is actually voiced Dio. What makes it better is the fact that the count's servant is called Jodo, which was low-key funny. So he was searching for virgin girls for his master to suck on their blood to increase his power, granting him enough strength to take on Arches and Cal. And so he sends his soldiers, the werewolves, in search of virgins for him to feed on. In the camp, Lucian falls asleep only to be attacked by that werewolf attempting to hunt Yoko for his master Diamond. Darsh then semi-awakens and fights the werewolf, protecting Yoko from any harm. With the werewolf defeated, Dio, along with his army, descend upon their location. The ruckus seems to wakes up Lucian from sleep, and he can't seems to go back to being our OP main boy. Drash seems to have lost his hold to swap back to the body at the worst time possible. Lucian, Yoko, and Lars are arrested and sent off to his castle, where he is going to drain Yoko's blood. Then two more virgin girls arrive. They are Shin and Kai. Both sneaks up and ambushes Dio, attacking him simultaneously. However, with him being a vampire, he heals all his damage back up and attacks them easily, catches Kai and sucking on her blood, revealing his plan to gather power from Virgin's blood to overpower Arches and even Kaisto and take their place. The two girls then tell him that Darch will defeat him for sure, to which he laughs menacingly.
Did you just make a JoJo's reference? Aaron, what are you talking about? Your mom just died. This is no time for a JoJo's reference. There's always time for a JoJo's reference!
He then reveals to them the true identity of their beloved Darsh, and that he has been captured, and points at Lucy. After Diamond drains the night and kicks Yoko, Darsh is angered enough to transform. With Darsh released, he uses a powerful thunder spell on Diamond, but it has no effect on him or his outer body. At least as what he did was to mess up his nerve system, tricking Diamond into killing the werewolf Jodo. Darsh then catches a laser beam and returns it 2 times stronger at the Count Ugly, hitting, and then breaking the wall behind him to let the sunlight in to kill Dio. Just like how Dio always survives, he survives again by turning into a bat. But Darsh used a Q's spell to obey him, or else he will turn into a toad. In the aftermath of the battle with Diamond escaping the scene, Shin cries and runs to Drash, fearing what will happen to Kai. He then explains that she is a powerful woman and that she needs immediate treatment in a temple to completely heal her. Then Shin asks him who Yoko is and what she meant to him. He answers that she is the one that will bear his children someday. However, Yoko completely disregards his statement and states that they are only friends. That said, she remarked that things would be different if it was Shin instead of him, which irritates him as well. Shin then accuses him of playing around with her feelings, even though she was the one who barged on him in his room and onto his bed. He then gets slapped by Yoko when he tries to play it cool. On the other side, Arches accepts the accused spell of Abigail and leaves the council. She then heads to the kingdom of Metallicana to kill Gara and Darsh as well. Arches arrive at the gates of the castle and are intercepted by Gara, the master ninja. He then engages in a ferocious sword battle with Arches. His Mira-sama is her Rei-Jinkin, the legendary Thunderblade with the power to cut mountains. They exchange blows multiple times and each one of them thinks they got the other good. But turns out the thing that the budget cut guts killed was an illusion. As for Gara, it was one of his 7 formation clones. He then uses his most powerful attack on her, the same one he used against Darsh before, yet more powerful due to having both hands, and so he manages to break her legendary blade. However, Arches won't admit defeat anytime soon and launches magical attacks at him, then charges once again at Gara with her broken sword. Gara attempts to guard against her aerial attack, however her blade goes right through Mira-sama and cuts Gara in his abdomen, defeating him. Just when things seemed dark and bleak for Gara, a sudden light appears from the sky and blasts through the bridge, sending Walmart's guts away from Arches. And who would it be handed that blast? Of course, it is none other than the evil king himself, Darsh. Darsh heads over to Arches and proceeds to seduce her yet again. She almost gives in to his impeccable charm until she sees the blue thumb thing turning into purple and remembers that she is now bonded to the accused spell, and even if she wanted to give in to her love for Darsh, she can't anymore, not after what she has done. A storm begins and Yoko is serving food to the soldiers in the castle. She grants them all hefty portions. But for Darsh, she barely puts anything on his plate and then scolds him and hits him on his face with the spatula. Jiu, the high priest, and Princess Sheila then head over to the fortune teller that helped imprison him years ago to get Darsh's future and fortune read by her. She then reveals the image of his mutilated body with his heart removed as an aftermath of his upcoming battle with Arches Nay. Princess Sheila then heads over to his room to confront him and try convincing him to give up on that fight with whatever means necessary, even if that meant her offering him her body to do whatever he wants with it. Meanwhile, everyone in the castle is relieved that the storm is brewing since monsters won't dare attack under such weather. This false sense of security was what Arches needed to complete her counterattack on the castle of Metallicana. At the same moment, when Darsh was going to have his way with the princess's body while Yoko standing right out of his room, Arches summoned one of her most powerful spells, the same one he used to destroy the ninja castle to bombard the castle. Darsh survives her attack by creating a protective barrier around him, Sheila, Yoko, and Lars. Gara and his ninja survived that attack too. But Arches was nowhere close to being done with her attacks. She charges at Darsh on top of her griffin, gaining aerial supremacy to her advantage, with the legendary blade Rei-Jinkin by her side. When Darsh casts a spell that allows him to fly at a high speed, Arches casts a spell she created that forms a vortex of lighting that renders any spell he uses useless. It even absorbed his flight spell and sent him pummeling to the ground. Arches had aerial superiority, a legendary weapon in her possession, and was still able to use her spells. Things didn't look good at all for Drash until a red beam raced through the sky to his side. It was none other than the Ifrit. He transformed again into the flame sword after assuring his master that he is here to protect him and provide him with victory. Arches and Drash now have 2 legendary weapons on their side. Darsh's blade is slightly stronger. However, as Gara stated, he was still at a disadvantage since at the end of the day he is just a caster and a wizard with no spells, while Arches is a powerful mage as well as a great swordsman who has mastered the High-Jinkin style. Arches then charge at him and Ifrit, but with one strike he kills her griffin and takes the aerial advantage from her, which made things slightly better. As the two finally clash, the Ifrit in the flame sword tells Darsht that even if he doesn't know it yet, the world needs him to protect, and that he will grant him victory in this battle. Just like that, Ifrit grabs Neos, the spirit in Ray Jinkin, and flies with him towards the lightning vortex, erasing himself and Ray Jinkin from existence, as well as dispelling the anti-magic field. Arches and Darsh begin the magic fight. They simultaneously use the same spells at the same speed. Darsh then resorts to using Exodus and launches himself at Arch's Nay. She does the same as well, and just for a second his feelings for her got the better of him and weakened his spell, sending him flying into the wall, while Arches was still in the air, calling him stupid for letting his emotions get the best of him. Everyone believes that he is down for the count, but the dashing handsome hero rises back up and is showing off. He then taunts Arches by telling her that he loves her and she feels the same for him. She then summons lightning spirits, and in turn, MC summons salamander fire spirits to fight for him. This is a top-level dangerous cast, since if the caster's concentration wavers even a little, it could be death penalty for them. Amid the midst of the battle, the elf girl recalls her painful past of war and being treated as an outsider her whole life for being an elf hybrid. Darsh then urges her to recall how he accepted her and adopted her as a daughter, as well as a lover for 100 years, becoming a sanctuary for her. She then proceeds to pummel him and throw him all over the place while he refused to defend her. This changed something in her heart, and the battle became her suicide note, because all she wanted was for him to kill her, rather than turn her into a frog by the accused spell. Abigail laughs as he observes the fight through a crystal ball, like a coward. He expected this, and that Nay still has feelings for Dark Schneider. Abigail notes that if this continues, Nay will eventually die. He then casts his most powerful spell, Halloween. She does the same too, as MC was her one and only teacher who taught him that. Their attacks clash, but Darsh has the advantage over her as her powers began to falter. Close to the end, Arches accepts her fate and urges him to hurry and destroy her before the accused spell takes control of her. At that moment, Lucian appears in front of Drash and tells him to look closely at his beloved daughter, opening his eyes to what truly was going on. He immediately understands that it was the doing of Abigail and redirects both blasts away from them. He then approaches his beloved, ensures her that everything will be all right, and pulls out his heart, which instantly kills him. The prophet notes that her vision came true after all. Amazed by Schneider's death, Abigail laughs, saying he no longer needs to fear him. Elsewhere, King Cavadale of Kingdom Whitesnake is angry as Khal-Su had cornered them. Since their army is second only to the Kingdom of Judas, he wonders what his army is doing. He is notified that over 100 strong magicians are working in breaking Khal-Su's blizzard. Khal-Su then releases another freezing spell, Biskaya, which hits Cavadale and freezes him. Abigail says how they have 3 of the 4 seals. He then sends his army of decay towards Meta Lacana. Nay didn't leave Schneider's body for 3 days, but got exhausted and collapsed. Yoko visits Schneider and tells him that he didn't repay the 500 yen he took. She then kisses him and her tears drop on his face. Lars also visits Schneider and tells him that he has spent the last 15 years looking for the legendary dragon warrior successor, as he will wield infinite magic, and is the only one capable of saving human civilization against absolute evil. However, he never expected the one most suited to inherit it to be the one that fought against it 15 years ago, Schneider himself. Schneider's body then shines and he transforms into Lucian. Meanwhile, while looking at how sinister Anthrasax looks, Khal-Su wonders if they will really be able to control her. Abigail assures him they will, explaining that while she has a strong desire for destruction, she has an intelligence of a goblin. The Kane of Meta Lacana tells Sheila that if Anthrasax is resurrected, the human race will perish. He then decides to tell her the secret of the seal they possess. Gara tells one of his ninjas that if the upcoming army is only of undead, they can handle it. But Ninja-san was worried because there may be more than just that. He wonders if Nay can join them. However, Gara believes she has no desire to live after seeing Schneider sacrificing himself for her. He was like a father and lover to her. Unexpectedly, he passes by Nay, who states she has no intention to die yet and is going to keep fighting until she gets her revenge. As Abigail activates the two other seals, Lucien turns to Schneider again. As AniRecapz opens her eyes and screams, Schneider opens his eyes as well and a light shines from the sky. Soldiers, along with Geo the Prophet and Yoko, gather to Schneider and see that his heart is regenerating. Meanwhile, Nay and Gara attack Lynch, but their attacks have no effect on him. Lynch then attacks them, and Gara protects Nay with his body. Nay is surprised at how much stronger has Lynch become. Lynch explains that with the gods awakening, those born in darkness grow stronger, which includes him and Abigail. Meanwhile, Schneider's heart had regenerated, but he wasn't breathing. Yoko then starts slapping him to wake him up. As she gets angry that he isn't waking up, she threatens to hit him. Recalling similar memories with Lucien, Schneider wakes up all scared. He apologizes for not waking up. At that moment, Lynch and the rest feel his aura. Geo notes that Schneider is now more powerful than he was before. Yoko is happy that Dark Schneider is back. He tells her at a time like this, she needs to give him a passionate kiss. But since that will turn him into Lucien, he will wait for it after he takes her virginity. Hearing that, Yoko gets angry and hits him. We'll continue the next part in next few weeks. Meanwhile, subscribe and watch our other contents posted in our channel. Until then, stay safe. Bye.